getting called fat as a kid, yeah, that's bullying, but that's not trauma. That's a bad memory. True. And I was like, I got called fat as a kid.
Yeah.
And maybe I have some trauma. I don't know. Yeah. I feel fine now.
It's more of like a mental scratch rather than a mental scar.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh my gosh. that's a great way to put it.
Because it's like I definitely was like bullied as a kid. My last name is Archibald, so you can already imagine how creative the kids got with that one.
I can't think of anything. Can you give me an example?
I used to get arch them balls.
What?
Arch them balls. Yes, dude. That was a big one. Arch them balls. And I was like, arch them balls, huh?
Yeah.
That's what y'all got?
Welcome to Only the Greatest Podcast. If you're feeling stuck and unsure what to do next in your fitness journey, we might be what you're looking for. My name is Philip. I own and operate OTG Fitness, which is a private personal training gym on the south side of Houston in Webster. I do this podcast every week with my best friend, Daryl. We've been friends since third grade and working out together ever since. Also joining us today will be Sean. He's the one that makes this podcast not only sound great, but look good as well. Our goal here is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. So if you're in the Houston area and ready to become the greatest version of yourself, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
All right. So we are recording. What'd you have for breakfast this morning, Phil?
What did I have for breakfast? Denver's been meal prepping, so I had 200 grams of chicken, 200 grams of sweet potato, and a small mango.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Sounds really good.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
I had some low-fat pork sausage and 2 hash brown patties from HEB and a raw nutrition protein shake with Fairlife chocolate milk.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
nice.
been the go-to.
Sounds pretty solid.
Yeah, it's super, super good. So, man, this is just me and you today, man.
Yeah. Little different style episode today.
Mm-hmm.
Sean has found us some videos. One of them I've seen because when you kind of came up with the idea, you showed it to me.
Yeah.
And this is something that I have to admit that I watch a lot of fitness myself, like as a consumer, fitness stuff, and then financial things as well, like the, self-development, I guess is also, but then like financial things, and something that this one YouTube channel that I follow, they do a lot of like reactions to financial nonsense.
yeah, there's a lot of it out there. So and, I could definitely agree for sure.
Yeah, it's always really interesting. So I guess. Not necessarily nonsense. I mean, maybe some of the stuff that you pulled up, but some of it sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So a nice combination of just kind of, letting people know what we think of the information that is being spread around the internet.
Oh yeah. Just a simple, reaction video, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what are some of your favorite financial YouTube creators that you could suggest?
The one that I follow the most, or I guess there's 2 that I keep up with the most, and then I kind of like sprinkle some other stuff in here and there. One is this show called The Money Guy Show.
Okay.
Which is really good. That's kind of like my my fix on like the fundamentals.
Okay.
And I don't, you probably know this, but if someone listening to our podcast for the first time at OTG, we tell you that results happen from 3 things: fundamentals, and
then more fundamentals.
And more fundamentals. That's what we believe in fitness. And that's what I believe that people need from all areas. Diet, finance, fitness, like exercise.
Yeah.
The fundamentals and doing them very well and over and over and over again is what will get you where you want to go. Like when you come to OTG Fitness, I always tell everyone, like when they're coming in, they're asking questions and stuff. They're asking like, hey, what kind of workouts do you do? And then I tell them, we focus on the fundamentals. We're not the type when you come here, We're not going to have you throwing kettlebells upside down with your left hand.
There you go.
You know, we don't do that.
We're not going to do the workouts where people are taking like the bench press and they're taking the bench and putting it over their back and then squatting that and doing all this crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you know, on Thursday evenings, we do break out the bongo drums, you know, and do like drum fitness, you know.
Dude, oh my God. I should have
We should have had that one.
No, the video I should have grabbed was the one of the ladies swing. That's gonna be on the next one.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Last week you showed me.
Definitely gonna be on the next one.
Last week you showed me the one of the drum class, and I was just waiting. It was like a 2 or 3 minute long video, and I was just waiting for them to actually do something.
Yeah,
I thought it was like a legit fitness class. I thought you were showing me this pretty cool. Like, look at this fitness class that involves drums. And they just kept drumming.
Yeah, they're just walking around, drumming
all in workout gear.
Just ready to go.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so my point is, if that's what you want to do, we're not the place for you. We believe that results happen from doing the fundamentals over and over again. And I've told this story on this podcast before, but if you haven't heard, when I was a kid, I remember my baseball coach had this card. Mm-hmm. And anytime we complained about, warming up with very simple things, we're like, Coach, we're, varsity level baseball players or blah, blah, whatever we were, we're at all-star practice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he had a baseball card, and it was Rafael Palmeiro, and he was hitting off of a tee. And he was like, when you think you're better than Rafael Palmeiro at hitting a baseball, I'll let you do whatever you want. Dude, right? The best people in the world still do the fundamentals, and they do it every day over and over and over, and that's how they become great.
I feel that in from the creative aspect as well, like a story that I like to tell when someone's just asking, what are some of the rougher stories you've had or something like that. One that I always remember, and I don't think I'll ever forget it, is I remember booking a shoot directly after a vacation. So the day I came back, later that day, I was shooting a shoot. So I didn't think too much of it. I get back from the river, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. And I'm like, at 6:00 I have to go and do this shoot. All right, whatever. I had my stuff in my car. I'm thinking everything's good, no problems. And I was doing video for a poetry slam event. So I was like, all right, this is fine. I'm just walking around getting video of this thing. Dude, I get there and all of my gear is half prepped, basically. Half charged batteries, half full cards. I had a previous shoot on the card that I didn't dump yet. It was just an issue, a lot of issues. So as I'm walking around this event, and it's a 3-hour event, I'm watching my battery life go like this, and then the car storage go like this, and I'm just freaking out, right? And I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? What do I do? Luckily, there was a lady there that shot the same camera system that I did, and she let me borrow a battery, and while I was borrowing the battery, she let me charge it. And then only thing she told me, didn't scold me, didn't call me an idiot or anything. All she said was, dude, you just got to make sure this stuff is prepared. And I was like, yeah, preparation.
How old are you?
It was dude, it was a while ago. I was probably
one of your first bigger jobs.
Yeah. That it was definitely early, really, really early on. So that was one of the fundamentals that I always stick to is batteries always charged, cards always formatted. Make sure that that's all done, and that's just such an important fundamental because you can have all the fancy gear, fancy lights, fancy camera, fancy monitor, but it's if you don't have your battery charged or you
can't do anything.
Yeah, you can't do nothing without that base level understanding of what's going on. So yeah.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, this probably happens in the creative world as well, but especially in the nutrition world. People want to overcomplicate this stuff.
Yes.
It is usually, and if you're listening to this, I apologize ahead of time if maybe you can think of an example where it's not so simple. But most of the time, we can get this stuff very simple. Mm-hmm. I think it's very important for us as professionals in the health and fitness world to know that there are a lot of unknowns. Mm-hmm. I was actually just watching a video, but I was referring to some stuff this morning to confirm things that I've been discussing with our team as far from a personal training, and actually an exercise form standpoint. I was like, let me confirm this real quick just to make sure. And I was watching the utmost experts in our field, and there was one of the things that they said in a certain situation was, I don't know. And I think it's very important to understand that sometimes when it comes to some of these very complicated things, we don't know the actual answer.
True.
So let's just keep it simple.
Yeah.
And do what needs to be done. Do the fundamentals. And then if science and stuff, sometimes in the future, in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, tells us something better, awesome. We will implement that. But for now, what we know is this thing works, and it works this way because of the limited amount of knowledge that we do have.
Yes.
And it works. If you do it, it will work. And that's our message. Simple.
Yeah.
Fundamentals. For a long time.
Yeah. Keep your batteries charged.
Yeah, keep your batteries charged. Exactly.
Keep your batteries charged.
All right, well, Sean, let's start with the first one. Sean, I guess what we'll do here is just kind of watch the video together, and then you'll overlay it.
Yeah,
like on YouTube
for sure.
Kind of thing? Okay.
So this is the video that kind of sparked this whole episode.
Okay.
And
do you want to kind of
this 3D printed steak from Redefined Meat that is meaty and fibrous, just like real meat, but 100% vegan. And I'm going to stick it in a Club Mexicana taco. I mean, it looks meaty. It smells meaty.
it kind of looked like he was ripping plastic or
It's got the layers
something.
of protein and fat that
just
you
eat
find
meat.
in meat. And it's pretty juicy. I'm not going to lie, it smells disgusting.
I love that part.
Meat smells disgusting too, so I'm going to be open-minded.
wonder what he's cooking with? It can't be butter.
Yeah.
It looked like butter, but
Yeah, it looked great.
Right, now that we've loaded up our tacos, it's time to give it a try. It looks like meat, it smells like meat. Does it taste like meat?
I wonder what the nutrition is.
Yeah.
Nutrition
That
content.
umami flavor that you get when you sear meat, banging. And as always, Club Mexicana taco.
Did he just choke on it?
10.
I don't know what he showed. Yeah, that was kind of odd though.
Definitely recommend giving it a try.
I would definitely recommend not giving it a try.
Yeah.
But
Dude, it looked really good. Like if someone didn't tell me that it was 3, so I did a little bit more research on it, and it's by a company. Oh my God.
could you find the nutrition information?
I didn't see any.
Well, while you're looking that up, I guess I'll just share my thoughts. First, like, we're not a we're a fitness channel, health and fitness, and we're looking at things from a health and fitness perspective. I'm gonna and if you're listening to this and you don't eat meat, like, I very much respect that. But if we're looking at it from just a strictly a health perspective, and you don't want to eat meat, you should also not eat fake meat. You should not eat chemically manufactured meat products.
3D printed meat.
Yeah, that's I don't is that what that was?
Yeah,
Was
that's
it,
3D print. It's 3D printed meat.
my
I actually
gosh.
have a follow up video talking about
Okay,
a
let's
little
check that
bit
out real
more
quick, I
about
guess.
that.
Would you eat this 3D printed steak? The Angus is a 3D printer its company's CEO says can churn out tons of this fake meat every day, allowing the producer to choose the tenderness, marbling, and fattiness of a cut. Don't worry, it looks much more appetizing once it's cooked. Designed by Israeli company Redefined Meat, the machines are meant to give the customer the most lifelike experience possible, using ingredients like soy and pea proteins, chickpeas, beetroot, nutritional yeasts, and coconut fat.
Here we study meat, animal meat. We study the texture, the chewiness, the
Just eat
tenderness,
those items.
the juiciness, all the properties.
There's
that
no
give meat
need
this,
to manufacture.
sensory experience, and then we know how to mimic it in our meat.
This is the head of a food retailer chain taking a shot of beet juice blood. What did he think?
אתה מרגיש אני יכול להגיד את הזיכרון של טעם של דם.
Okay.
The steaks are available in approximately 1,000 restaurants in Israel and countries in Europe. Redefine is hoping to launch in more European countries soon.
We see a world in a decade from now that new meat or meat made from plants is a big part of the meat industry. It replaces a lot of the meat
Just
that people
eat the
consume
plants.
today that is bad for the
true.
environment and bad for the
That's
most,
what I'm not
most of the people
understanding
in the
here.
supply chain. I still believe that people will consume high quality meat forever, coming from animals, and these two industries will live side by side.
I mean, that might be true, but
Yeah.
I kind of hope not, because food is food.
Okay.
You know, we don't need to take chickpeas. Chickpeas are great by themselves.
Chickpeas are really good by themselves.
Peas are great by themselves.
Yeah.
They are intended to be eaten as is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am a huge fan of technology. I'll share that as well. I love technology all day, every day. You know, on Denver's Tesla now, we got this free trial of the full self-driving, and like a lot of people are like super anti that kind of stuff. I think it's great. It's gonna be this world will be safer because computers are smarter than us. I fully believe that.
Yeah.
When the computers learn how to interact with each other and drive, interact with street lights, stop signs, accidents.
Yeah.
This world will be a safer place, right?
100%. Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of, I'm just using that as an analogy, I guess. I'm a fan of technology. There is no need for that. If you want to be vegan because you feel like maybe you feel the best when you do that, awesome. I think that you should do that. If you want to do it for ethical purposes, amazing. You should do that. But just eat whole foods as intended.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that the people creating this type of stuff are taking advantage of people that want to be vegan or vegetarian or eat less meat for their ethical purposes. That guy, whoever invented that, is taking advantage of that person. This person that has maybe been through some trauma in their life, they're really worried about what they're eating. They have a lot of emotion tied up in this. They even miss, like deep down inside, they miss eating meat.
Yeah.
Because it was good, but ethically they're in a battle with themselves about it. Oh, I could have this thing though.
Yeah. You see it as taking advantage, or do you see it as like an option for people that it's like, man, I would like to eat meat, but religious, ethically, or whatever reasons I can't, but I can still have a steak with this.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I think that's very true, but I mean, I really haven't thought about it much until just now when we saw this, you know, and I still think that, I guess that was my initial thought. I think that what you're saying is a valid point as well. It's actually a really good point that I don't really have an argument against what you're saying there.
Yeah, because it's like I don't see. I think really what gets me is just aesthetically. Like when I first scrolled across it, I was like, what is that? Like it looks strange. But once he cooked it and everything, it's like I would be lying if I said I wouldn't try it.
I'd probably try it. I hate to admit it.
Yeah, if he gave me that taco as it was, it's like it didn't tell me that it was 3D.
What if he did tell you?
If it was 3D printed meat, like what, before or after?
Before,
if I would try it for free. If I was in a situation and he's like, hey, you know, I have these.
If he was on the side of the road selling for $5, 2 tacos, $5.
2 tacos for $5 is kind of a deal.
That's why I presented it in that way.
I would hop on it.
And it said at the top,
3D
printed meat, come try, $5.
I would try it out. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think that the whole 3D printing wave is just interesting in itself. I have heard a little bit about like 3D printing meats and stuff like that, like a little while ago, but this is the first time I've seen it implemented like this. But no, it just looked strange, like ripping apart.
Yeah.
It looked really weird, but I mean, I would give it a try.
Yeah, I'd probably try it as well out of pure curiosity.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick with my guns and say I'd only try it once just to say that I tried it. It is interesting, I guess, especially to feed people. But, you know, there's a lot of hungry people in the world that maybe need it if we can get the cost down to feed a lot of people. But I just think that there's better options because adding that type of manufacturing to food is just not necessary. What would be
a little sketchy?
A better use of funds, in my opinion, would be teaching people how to grow their own vegetables, rather than spit. That's got to be a $1 billion company.
Yeah,
maybe not in valuation, but like in the funds it took to do it.
To do that, research and development and everything.
Exactly. Why don't we take that money and teach people how to grow chickpeas?
Yeah. No. True.
Right.
I guess only devil's advocate to I would play there is I guess timing and also space of like having the space to grow.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now
because a lot of people live in apartments.
Yeah, now I have to have the agricultural means to have, you know, I mean, chickpeas, a cow, even if you want to go the beef route, like the
Right.
all beef route, it's like now I have to have the place to house this thing. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
Well,
I
again,
mean,
maybe some type of research and development can help us come up with that answer.
true.
You know, something that Denver and I discuss a lot, like with all the things going on in the world, like people are resourceful and we
Yeah.
will figure it out. Maybe the resource is what we're seeing right now with 3D printed meat.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the resource and maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But my personal belief, you know, from how I feel about this, the emotional response that I get from watching that, I don't love it.
Yeah.
People,
It seems a little dystopian,
Yeah.
kind of Soylent Greenish. Have you ever heard of that movie? Like,
No,
it's like a
but-
movie where there's like I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've seen like clips from it. It's a movie that takes place in the like not so distant future type thing, and there's people eating this like there's like this cure-all food called like Soylent Green, and it's just it replaces all foods. It's a superfood. You can eat it, you can drink it. It's just the perfect food. And I think one person finds out what it's made out of, and it's like the whole like big like reveal of the movie is like Soylent Green, it's made out of people, and he's being
Oh my
like
gosh.
jacked, he's like being like dragged away by the government or something. So it kind of has
Dang.
like that feel
I
to
kind
it.
of wish you wouldn't have
It's-
told me that, so I could have watched it and figured it out. Sounded. I'll still watch it.
No, I'll definitely. I've never watched the whole thing,
Oh,
so I'm
okay.
pretty curious. I think it's an older one. I think it's like 80s
Okay.
or something
Denver
like
likes old
that.
movies,
So yeah, but
Well, final thought for me is that currently manufactured and processed foods are currently the reason that we are an unhealthy nation.
mhm.
Adding another processed food to the equation, I don't think is going to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what I'll leave it with.
Fair enough. I think that my final thoughts is I would try it, but I think I would just stick to like for now to my ground beef and my steaks and everything. I would try it though if I seen it.
Yeah, synthetically engineered things are never going to replace the real thing
Yeah.
when it comes to food, in my opinion.
For sure. So the next video, we're gonna look at the La Sierra like 1960s physical fitness test.
Okay. I think I've seen this before, but it's been a while.
Sorry.
People are shocked at what American high school gym class looked like in the 1960s. This footage is from one of the 4,000 U.S. high schools that followed La Sierra's physical education program that was pushed to be the standard model by JFK. According to the La Sierra physical
like high school,
education
or?
standards that were
I think
outlined
so.
in their 1966 handbook, the minimum push-ups that a student should be able to do is 16. And they should have at least a 7.5-minute mile run. Considering
so
most
fast.
modern Americans struggle to even complete 5 push-ups, this 16 minimum is quite shocking. The top group that was outlined in the handbook is Blue Team, and to be a part of this you had to be able to perform 12 handstand push-ups and at least 14 pull-ups, which are crazily
Oh my
impressive
gosh.
standards. Considering 1 in 6 modern American
Handstand
children have
push-ups is
obesity,
nuts.
it is a shocking sight to see how seriously fitness and health were being taken in the 1960s,
That's the way it should
and
be.
how even the president was helping push forward this higher standard of physical education in school. Many people wonder if America as
I mean,
a country will ever return to a place even close to this. But considering the trends in obesity and the culture shift of America, it continues to seem unlikely.
These kids are ripped.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I would say my first thought is that those are pretty high standards, but that's only because I grew up in the world we are now.
Yes.
Maybe back then it was normal, so it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah. The physical fitness test when we were, because we're similar,
Yeah.
like similar in age. So it's like when we're in I think middle school was probably the last time that we did it. And it definitely was not that intensive at all. I mean, I remember they had like that little sit and reach thing, and
Yeah,
that
flex-
was that was kind of it. It wasn't like a whole.
You had the shuttle run, you remember, for speed?
shuttle run was cool. I did like shuttle run for sure.
Yeah.
7.5 minute.
I remember
mile.
when I was in elementary school, we had a half-mile run, but I don't remember what the standards were.
I remember we had a mile run, but yeah, once again, I don't remember what the standards were on that either. Now that we've been running more, 7.5.
You see how fast that is, right?
Dude, that would be.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like that's like almost an all out. Like the other day I did a little bit of speed work, and I think I was just kind of hyped to be on like able to run faster again in training. And I think that I got to like an 8-minute mile like at my fastest, and I was like, oh, I gotta like dial it back. And so I was like, I couldn't imagine holding that pace even faster for a whole mile.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to
fast.
say because we're looking at standards of us now.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know what it was like we were both born in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us to put ourselves at that time frame. Would I like to see health and fitness taken more seriously? Yes, yes, yes.
100%.
Is it going to be to that standard? I don't know. Definitely not anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that's a lot to ask. Back then, just imagine like, you know, I guess like what a kid's life even looked like at that time. It's just like they're probably outside a lot more, probably working with their hands a lot more. I mean, it was probably just, and they probably just seen it a lot more. It wasn't just one or two kids in that whole setup. It's like everyone is in there. It's just that was the bar, and now it's like, oh well, you can. You know, you don't have to do the run. You don't have to do the push-up part.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. There was a lot of people walking in my mile class. I remember that. They were like, you can walk the mile. And I was like, walk the mile?
Like, why would you allow that? Yeah, so...
Yeah, like, what's the point then?
You know, it's crazy. I was just watching, I guess she was a psychiatrist or psychologist. I'm not sure which, to be honest, but they were talking about it yesterday. And I'm not saying that I agree with this. I'm just repeating what I heard. Mm-hmm. This person thinks that young people are doing too much therapy now because what's going on is that, and once again, I don't necessarily agree with this. Mm-hmm. It's just an interesting thing to consider. She said that what's going on right now is therapists, they're doing an amazing job at making people feel like it's okay to walk the mile, as an example.
Yeah.
It's okay to not do something you don't want to do. But back then, your parents were like, suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah, right.
Life's hard.
Yeah, I had 3 jobs when I was your age. Boy, what the hell?
And her belief is that kids need more of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what's right. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I don't want to say slippery slope, but it's case by case.
Yeah,
big time. I do think I agree with that for a lot, but I do know that there are more detailed cases where there probably is some type of trauma or something going on to where it's like, okay, this is a specialized case, but I don't think that applies to the many.
Yeah, and
I think that applies to the few for sure.
In this interview, she was because that was the question that the interviewer asked. Like, well, what about if a kid really was bullied and stuff like that? Like, well, and then it was really interesting what she said. She's like, you know, getting called fat as a kid, yeah, that's bullying, but that's not trauma. That's a bad memory.
True.
And I was like, I got called fat as a kid.
Yeah.
And maybe I have some trauma. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel fine now.
It's more of like a mental scratch rather than a mental scar.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh my gosh. That's a great way to put it.
Because it's like I definitely was like bullied as a kid. My last name is Archibald, so you can already imagine how creative the kids got with that one.
I can't think of anything. Can you give me an example?
I used to get arch them balls.
What?
Arch them balls. Yes, dude. That was a big one. Arch them balls. And I was like, arch them balls, huh?
Yeah.
That's what y'all got? It's like you either get like in that time, that was the switching point where I was like, you either get strong or you get funny. And like you either like fight these kids all the time or you like chop them up. And I just went, let's get funny. And so I would watch a lot of like stand-up comedy growing up. So I was like, arch them balls, huh? And then I'm like, well, your mama died. And then you just like go in and it's just like, Sean, get out of the class. And I was like, I don't got my shit. So it's just like, but yeah, it's like a mental scratch more so than anything because it's like, I really don't feel a trauma from it. It's like, it was something that, you know, I would think about, growing up and whatnot. It helped shape my life in a way, but it's like, I think a trauma is almost like you get a physical response from something that you remember mentally, like, you know, you see a dog and you got bit by a dog when you were a kid and you're like shaking, you know, like, holy crap, you're shaking from the memory. I think that's more of a trauma response rather than like, you know, you get bullied.
And even in that case, and they talked about this, and this particular doctor, I guess, psychologist, psychiatrist, whichever, mentioned that if we continue, her thought is that if we continue in this direction, eventually kids are going to be possibly like drugged up, think they have such a problem. It's the whole stick the finger in the light switch. That old saying, you know, stick your finger in there, see how it feels. Bet you won't do that again.
Yeah.
Well, at some point they will do it again because they lost the bad memory.
Yeah.
That little bit of trauma is good because it keeps you from messing up again.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just about, I guess not getting too emotional about it. And it's funny that, I haven't really thought about this in a while. I have a few times, like in my adult life, the most clear memory I have of, I guess, being bullied is when I remember in school, there was this kid. I remember the name. I won't say any names. I remember their name. I remember what they looked like. I remember the exact classroom I was in when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid, and he would do it all the time. He would take a pen and draw on my leg and just laugh about it and thought it was funny. And I would just sit there and watch him do it.
Like, stop.
What are you doing? And I guess that would be considered a form of bullying.
Yeah.
Because I would just let him do it. And, he would like draw circles on my calf.
And
and laugh about it. And maybe that should be, I'm fine. That is a bad memory.
Yeah, because it's like,
It's not
you didn't
trauma.
like it. Yeah, it's like, I don't like this. But it's just like, I guess, was the kid like bigger than you? It's like, if I would have,
not really.
No, just
I was a big kid,
Yeah.
But I was just
like,
real quiet.
it was like, I don't like that. Leave me alone. Like, stop messing with me. And it's just like, they just want to poke at you. Yeah.
Exactly. But so to pull this back around to the video that we just watched, am I saying that kids are too soft? Maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert. I do think that we need to definitely move back towards that direction somehow.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to understand, I don't have kids. I'm going to be very careful about what I say. Kids only know what they're taught.
Very true.
If from day one, it's okay, you don't have to, they're never going to do anything.
Never. Yeah. They're going to grow up just, oh, man, you got to go apply for a job. Well, I've applied for 2 already. Of
Like,
the places
what?
that I want to work,
Yeah.
I applied at NASA and I applied at National Geographic to be photographers. They didn't hire me at either. Well, I quit.
Yep, game over. I give up.
Yeah, it's like, what? Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah, I think that I would like to see something like that implemented in kids' physical fitness class, and it's like a grade, like not like a PE, not like an elective. Like, if you don't do this and you don't excel at this to a certain standard, you fail, and it's a big deal. Like, it'll affect your GPA.
And for sure, some kids won't like it. Some kids don't like math. They have to do it anyways.
There's a lot of times in life that you have to do stuff you don't like to do.
That's right.
And it's just like, I mean, and that's just what it is. I don't know what else to say there.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
in
like,
this case, I think it's exponentially important because it's our livelihood.
True.
Right? It is your life, living healthfully, being able to do things. And, kids, they're kids. They don't always know what's best for them.
Yeah.
That's why they can't sign contracts. They don't know what's best
point.
for them. They need us, smart, intelligent, experienced. Now, I'm not saying I'm smart or intelligent, but experienced adults to guide them in the right direction. How many times do you hear an older adult say, "Oh, I wish somebody would have told me that when I was younger"? Dude, they probably did, but maybe you just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So you should have been forced to do it. And I'm not saying to do anything bad. I'm saying force them to do the things that we know as adults that are better for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how many people do you know that are in their 30s trying to kind of get their fitness on now? They're trying to get their fitness stuff
Talk
going.
to them every day.
Oh man, dude, I wish I would have did this before, and then blah, blah, blah. It's like, and I'm one of those guys. Like, it's like, to me, fitness was not that important until I was like, I had like one bad fall on a skateboard, and I was like, "Ooh, wait a minute, hold on. I'm not just like able to just like shake this off and get right back to like my day. Like, that hurt like bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good. Like, my arm's not moving a lot. Like, what's going on here? So it's like that. I think that happened when I was like 27, 26, and it's just like, that's when I was like, oh man, fitness, mobility, flexibility, strength, all this is very, very important. I went and it comes in waves too. I did a run and I thought I was doing well, but then it's like I see that my heart is about to like explode, as I'm running. So it's like, okay, cardiovascular, like cardio work, it's very, very important. And so it's gonna come in those waves, but it's like a big overarching theme is like, man, I wish I would have took fitness a little bit more serious in my earlier 20s and just stick with, like, I went to the gym, but it wasn't like a serious thing. And it's like, I wish that it was more of a serious thing rather than it kind of being more or less like a fad at that point in my life. And it's like, that's the one thing. It's like, I'm happy I'm on it now, but it's like, I wish I would have just been more dialed in.
So if you would have had someone there that kind of made it more important to you, even if you didn't want to,
yeah,
you'd be moving in that direction. So yeah, it's
yeah, like those kids that have the dad that's like a football coach, and they're just like just drilling them, and they're like, oh man, you know, dad has me doing practice on Saturday. I want to go hang out with my friends and whatnot. And it's just like, you got to run them sprints, you know, knock it out, and then next thing you know, they're in their 30s, mid 30s, 40s, and they're not.
Thank God, Dad made me do that on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, it's not that big of a deal to them.
Right.
It's like, all right, cool. Yeah,
for
so,
sure. But yeah, I mean, will it ever get back to what we just saw in that video? Probably not. But we need to start moving towards that direction, and I think that would be better for our nation, as you know, here in America.
Yeah, 100%. So since we are talking about running, we have the Spiteful Half Marathon.
Okay.
Recently, my friends haven't shut the fuck up about running a half marathon. So today, I'm running a half marathon to show them how easy it is. I've had 0 training. I had 7 drinks last night. I got maybe 6 hours of sleep. And we're gonna run 13.1 miles. Meanwhile, they've been drinking non-alcoholic wine at every function and have set timers for when it's time to drink their protein shakes. And I am sick and tired of it. So let's stop yapping and let's start lapping. We're about to go for a run. We're off and running. It's 1:32 p.m. Mile 1, 9 minutes and 14 seconds. That's pretty good. Mile 2 finish.
Not bad.
9 minutes and 53 seconds. Mile 3, 9:58. Mile 4, 10 minutes and 27 seconds. Mile 5, done. Mile 6, 11 minutes and 6 seconds.
He's a little off. Yeah.
So that's good. Just finished mile 7. Mile 8, 11 minutes and 40 seconds. We're just trucking along. We're just going for completion, not speed. Mile 9.
This is pretty impressive if he's actually doing it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like looking, I was like, damn, his numbers are actually not bad.
22 seconds. We are really slowing down now. 3 miles to go. 3.1 miles to go. With a blazing speed of 13:47. Mile 10 is complete. Mile 12 complete. 12 minutes, 57 seconds. Mile 13 complete. 14 minutes and 20 seconds. We got 0.1 miles to go. 13.1 miles completed. 2 hours and 32 seconds. It was not fast, that's for sure. Not fast, not fun. I'm cramping everywhere and I'm sore in every muscle and bone in my body. But we did it. So, suck on that.
Dude, that was impressive.
Dude, I think his 10K time was pretty good. He was like at sub 10 minute the whole time.
Dude, everything that he must have been a high school or college athlete.
I think so. I think he has.
Did you look into his profile or anything?
No, I just only thing I looked into the comments, and his friends posted at their run, and they said, yeah, they beat him by 30 minutes. And so everybody, they were like, yeah, we beat you by 30 minutes, so suck on that. And everyone in the comments on that video was like, 30 minutes, that's it? And y'all are like the trained runners? Like, oh, hell no. And I was like battling with, is 30 minutes more? I was like, 30 minutes more is faster. It is faster for sure. But is 30 minutes, would I be super proud of 30 minutes more over someone who supposedly did not train at all, drank 7 beers, slept for 6 hours or however much he said? And it's like, and I'd been like training that hard up until the 10K. Would 30 minutes be enough for me to like put this dude's like dick in the dirt? Like it's like, I don't know if 30 minutes is enough for me. Like 30 minutes, I would be like, damn, I want an hour. Give me an hour, like to beat this guy. 30 minutes is too close to
Yeah,
for comfort,
I kind of
think.
agree with you. I will say that I bet he couldn't do it again next week. He's going to be hurting tomorrow because he's untrained. But, I might be wrong about this, but that video, my first thought is how important is the video before this that we just watched? Because I bet you that guy was an athlete when he was younger.
Yeah.
And even though he hasn't worked out or done anything in many years, but because he did it as a kid,
I think
he's way healthier.
I think so too, because I tried running kind of like a spiteful half marathon myself, and I got like 10 miles in and I was dying, dude. And it wasn't like, and I'd been running, I don't know how much he's ran. We don't know. This guy's like kind of unproven there to us currently, but it's like I've been running a little bit. I've been running enough to where I felt like I could at least run 10 miles straight or 13 miles straight. Nah, dude, 10 miles in, I was like dying. Like my legs were gone. Heart beating out my chest. I was completely depleted of everything. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look deeper into that, and I'll see if the guy had possibly was like a athlete as a kid.
Yeah,
or something.
if you're listening to this and you don't know much about running, what that guy did in running standards is like pretty average, I guess, but in general, in total population, that's amazing.
Yes.
I would venture 99% of people in America cannot do that.
No.
And that's why,
especially with the parameters that he had said, let's consider let's say he probably hadn't ran at all.
Right.
He said 0 training. So let's say 0. We'll take his word. 0 training, little sleep, little nutrition. I don't think that he was probably gelling up or anything. It sounds like he was just running.
He doesn't know anything about that kind of stuff, probably, as far as running specific. And what I just said, as far as running is concerned, that's pretty average, meaning that people that even are signing up for half marathons, he's still beating half of them.
Yeah.
Do you see
that's pretty wild. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
So even people that do train for multiple months for a half marathon still don't get that type of time. And I don't know this I'm just off the top of my head. I haven't looked up statistics or anything like that.
Yeah. But no, I don't think you're wrong. Especially like I said, that first half, I was like, dude, he was like sub 10, the whole time. That's really good. And I mean, he ended at, I think it was 2 hours something. However,
2.5 hours.
Yeah, 2.5 hours. It's I think, you're definitely beating a good chunk of the people that are going to do a half marathon.
Yeah, 2:38. And I'm in the camp of my first half marathon was 1 hour 59. First half marathon I ever did. And I trained for about 6 months going into that. And I've been active my entire adult life. I've been working now. I'm not running, not doing a lot of cardio, but in the gym, weightlifting. I'm in pretty decent shape. And my first half marathon was 1 hour 59, just under 2 hours.
Okay. So you beat him by 30 minutes.
So
as well.
For my first half marathon, it was very similar camp to his friends.
Okay. Yeah.
And all I'm thinking is that because he had a good base from when he was younger, that he was able to dig inside and get that out of him.
Yeah.
Which is extremely impressive.
No, for sure.
And so if our school systems had a way, or just as adults, we hold kids to a higher standard of fitness, they could do more things like this. And I think another important thing here is that, a lot of people don't care about running. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, people that sign up for a half marathon to run, they don't care about running either. They care about the benefit they get from running. People often forget about this. The same thing when you're in the gym. Mm-hmm. Very few people actually care about bench pressing more. They don't care about squatting more. Some people do. Don't get me wrong. Get powerlifters, bodybuilders, stuff like that. Yes. People that find enjoyment, awesome. That's amazing.
But just your average lifter,
your average person, they don't care about being a better exerciser.
Yeah.
They don't care about being a better runner.
Mm-hmm.
They care about being a stronger person and a healthier person. Running or weightlifting is just their method of getting to that.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
Right? People don't go to school to get better at going to school. They don't go to college to get better at going to college. Mm-hmm. They go to college to get a better job.
Once they get out of college.
Once they get out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. People don't work out to become a better exerciser. They work out to become a healthier person, to live longer, to play with their kids more, to go on more hikes, to be able to travel.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think it's important to keep that in mind here. So if you're like, running lame, blah, blah, blah. Well, this guy, like his friends that are running a lot, they're not running to be better runners. Maybe, but they're probably running
because of the benefits of it, the
health
benefits. Yeah,
the benefits of running.
Yeah, it looks like they're probably like, it looks like that dude's probably like late 20s, early 30s ish. Right. So it's just like, and his friends also, when I watched the video, they looked like they were probably around the same age, around that like late 20s, early 30s. And no, it's 100%. Like from like, I love like running is just, it's a great way to just kind of like get some, I don't know, just what's the word? Not anxiety, but to get some stress, a good stress reliever for sure. And as funny as that is, someone, oh man, you're running. Yeah, dude,
putting your body through hard physical things. Yes, is very mentally relieving.
Yeah, it feels great
for sure. But yeah, I mean, my thought on that, very impressive for one. From a currently untrained person, I think that he was very fit as a child, probably, or he has amazing genetics. A lot of this stuff is genetic. I know that's like a big debate. Maybe something else we can talk about on another episode. Genetics matter.
Yeah.
The way that I make this make sense to people is some people are taller than others, right? Some are stronger.
Yeah.
Some build muscle easier, right? It just, some are leaner, right? There is a genetic component to this. That doesn't mean that if you're not genetically gifted that you shouldn't do it. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was gonna say next. Some people are like, "Oh, okay, I'm not LeBron size, so I should never play pickup basketball ever in my life." It's just like,
you definitely should. You should have fun. You should spend time with other people. You should be getting your heart rate elevated. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits.
I don't look like Mike Mincer, so I should never lift a weight in my life. And it's just like, I mean, you still can. It's all good. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, do you have anything else on that one? I mean, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I was just battling with, is 30 minutes enough, man?
I don't think that it is. I'm gonna have to agree.
Yeah, I was like, man, he was kind of cruising. I was expecting him to like blow up at like mile 8, and he just cranked it out. And I was like you said, it was very impressive. When he did that first mile timing, I was like 9:30, 9:40. I was like, Jesus Christ, he's kind of moving. I was like, he definitely can't hold this for a while. And I'm thinking he was going to end the mileage at like 15 minutes, something crazy. Dude, he was like we both came to the conclusion, it was a pretty solid run. Will he be able to do that? He's probably going to be like,
he's going to be crazy sore tomorrow.
Yeah, for the next 3 days, he's just going to be like limping bad.
Right, where his friends could do that and be completely fine like an hour later.
Yeah, and that's something too that I think I guess it's not the sexiest part of the whole thing to think about, but because you do have those like kind of those friends that are the spite drives them. They're like, oh yeah, cool, whatever, I can arm wrestle you to death or something, and it's all good. But it's like, well, can you do that tomorrow? It's like, yeah, can you do that the next day?
Can you do it
like,
again?
Yeah, can you keep doing that consistently? Right. But no, I think it was super impressive, and really, it was just kind of cool to see.
Yeah, sure. And I just want to reiterate how important it is to be able to do it again. And again, like to my point of talking about how people don't exercise because they love to exercise, or they don't run to be a better runner, or bench press to be a better bench presser. They bench press more and run more and squat more so they can go do more things with their family and enjoy life again tomorrow and again the next day and next week and next year for a long time.
Yeah.
The longer you live, the more places on earth you can visit, the more trips you can take, the more activities you can try, the more mountains you can hike, the more streams you can kayak down.
Yeah.
The more you can see of our beautiful earth because you live longer and are healthier and can get to these places. And I know not everyone gets to do that, and maybe that's not important to someone listening, but I'm just making an example.
Yeah.
They do it so they can do it again and again and again. That's the most important thing.
100%. Well, Phil, I mean, that's all I got.
Yeah, dude, that was fun. Yeah, we'll enjoyed it. I know you had one more, so we'll save that
for the next one.
And then we'll maybe every once in a while we'll do this and find some stuff that we agree with, some crazy stuff that we maybe don't agree with. And just remember, guys, everything that we say is, for me, I'm an evidence-based, factual. I know there does, like the meat thing, like there is some like emotional piece to that comes in the equation, but I really try to look at everything logically as much as possible. And I think that's the best way to do it. And that's kind of our approach. Fundamentals, facts.
Yeah.
Less opinions, more facts. People will get better results over longer periods of time.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, peace out. We'll see y'all in the next one.